So Drake's legal team is asking for a number of documents from UMG. Now, some of those requests has the internet talking, particularly the ones in regarding Dave Free and Kendrick Lamar's children, right? Another is in regards to, Kendrick Lamar's contract. And I want to go through those requests, right? And read them out to you and opine a little bit and then just kind of break down what I think some of this stuff might mean, not as an attorney. So here we have, just four pieces of requests that I think are all interconnected. The document request number 51 is the one that, kind of has people talking, which states from January 1st, 2019 to the present, requesting all documents and communications relating to Dave Free and their relationship with Kendrick Lamar Duckworth and Kendrick Lamar Duckworth's children. So immediately, some stands are too far gone. I can't help you reason, right? But the ones that are not, I just want to point this out as some of the things that you can add to the long list of when I talk about what I've seen happening in the rap world and the audience and outside or whatever, that Drake resistance, right? And like, I know that this is, request from an attorney, but you're most likely going to check with your client on this, right? You're going to plan on this. This is some of the things that people are going to point to, right? Meaning, hey, what exactly do you think? Like for starters, I'm going to point to that myself. What exactly information do you think, a communication do you think UMG has on, Kendrick Lamar's, Dave Free's relationship with their children, right? And this points back to family matters. And as someone that watched this battle, studied this battle, commentated on this battle, I'm not going to appreciate any rewriting of history of how we got here and the level of escalation, right? I've made videos on that. While still considering that I'm not here to do, a $1 billion corporation's work, I do not appreciate anyone try to distort my reality of how we got here. So the main important thing and what I'm trying to tell you as a Drake stan, if you're watching this, is understand. And if you don't care, you don't care. That's great, right? Ride for your guy, fight for your guy, and you see whatever relevance you've conjured up on what this makes sense. But understand why there will be resistance against Drake, because for a lot of people, this is going to be how do we go from rap battle to, just the mention of, someone else's children in a court case. That's going to invoke some emotion. So we already talked about that. Like, what would UMG have on this, right? The audience's interpretation of this. And also, just to add one more thing, although what was kind of a saving grace before on this litigation was, hey, you're not necessarily suing Kendrick per se. You're going to be involving a lot of Kendrick Lamar in this and a lot of Kendrick Lamar's business in this as well. And the next thing is you're also going to involve your business. So I see a lot of Drake fans pointing this, and I'm going to point it out too, right? Document request number 49. Through the present, I guess they're requesting from UMG all documents and communication relating to Drake's criminal history or lack thereof, including any background information, due diligence, inquiries, check. So in this case, I'm guessing the lawyers now, not as a lawyer, but opining. I'm just going to tell you, I think the lawyers are doing their due diligence here as Drake's attorney, and they're pretty much going to try to, from what I can assume, present a case of, hey, dog, I'm sure y'all have done research on a client that you signed, Drake, right? And you've seen that he has no criminal history. So they're going to try to connect that most likely to the defamation in the sense of, like, why did you let all of this happen, right? So, probably, these are rich attorneys I've looked at, and really rich, powerful, good attorneys. So that makes, sense. And then now you have request number 50, which now this one, I think maybe UMG would have any history on this. They would have documentation, because it connects to 49, which is any documents and communication relating to allegations of domestic violence or violence against women committed by Kendrick Lamar. So maybe UMG's probably did their research there, same way they would do with Drake, and they're trying to, see if they have that. I think what I would say is, again, not rewriting, the battle history. I do think unless, Drake has some of this information maybe, and he's just letting his attorney know, hey, this is what we should be looking for. It kind of makes me look into family matters going like, okay, what were the connections you made there and for this to make the documents? Now, another thing I want to talk about too as well is like when we talk about the ecosystem of the genre, right? So again, for the audience, don't be surprised when people connect some of this stuff to, internalizing what this may mean for the genre and what they've seen in rap battling. Like I'm working on a doc on this stuff, and for a lot of people who know these things inherently, for someone like me to know a little bit and also be doing research because I wasn't alive in the 80s, I will let you guys know that it's not hyperbole when people are telling you that this is unprecedented. So for you to kind of connect it to like any other lawsuit in hip hop, it's unprecedented, right? So that's just game that I'm giving you. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing here. And the next thing here is about the contracts. I see a lot of people just kind of one line in this and like, oh, why you pocket watching, want to see another man's contract. I could see that. That's a very like hip hop way of thinking. I'm not mad at people on that. And I guess in Drake's attorney's case, maybe you're looking for wording that may, have incentives for Kendrick to do something against Drake. If it's in there and if it's in there, that's fine. Go ahead. But what I will point out too, though, is from a sort of privacy perspective. Again, the saving grace was you're not suing Kendrick, but in a situation where if these contracts, both guys, I'm presuming, right, were to get leaked, and there might be information on there that is sensitive for both guys, right? That's another ecosystem thing. The only thing that I could think that would be somewhat positive out of all this is people can be very secretive in the music industry about contracts. Obviously, both sides have a reason to be secretive. The label and the artist, might not want your business out there, but maybe from independent artists, being able to see samples of the contract would maybe be a small little victory. But for sure, I think the audience would say not in this manner. Right, not in this manner, right? Like I'd rather, an artist wanting to willingly do that, not again coming from a rap battle, right? Now here's where things get again even a little more dicey because this is a third thing that has people talking. It has to do with Pusha T's diss story at Adidon. So you see, request number 30 here says for the time period of January 1st to May. They want all documents and communication relating to any instruction, direction, or suggestion that any musical work or music video by Pusha T, including but not limited to the story of Adidon, be censored or otherwise modified, right? And it has a second page here, right? B, decision to not license, publish, or promote any musical work or music video by Pusha T, including but not limited to the story of Adidon. So I thought back a little bit and I was like, okay, doing the story of Adidon, Pusha T was most likely with Def Jam, which is under UMG. So the implication from what I can interpret in connection with what I know about music is they said they want to see any documents from UMG that may have had any communication to, either not promote, remove the story of Adidon. The one thing I want to point out to people about the story of Adidon that I think about now, and I don't know if UMG is going to lean on this or if that is a fact of the matter, that record was done over an instrumental. Okay, so I still have it available on like a SoundCloud and things like that, non-monetized area. But that's a piece that I don't know why people don't mention, right? But if the idea is, again, let's connect to how this is going to land to the audience. If the idea is Drake's team might be one to paint that, hey, dog, you've made sure that a record like that didn't, damaged Drake's career or you removed it, and we want to be able to prove to the court that you had that ability and didn't do that here. Cool. That's for the judge to figure out. What I will say though, from a music head perspective, we all heard the record. The record was out. They all these things about record label and beef records, they've existed since the beginning of the time. Going to Roxanne Shante, again, I'm working on it out. But for me, it was always there. But I hope you don't think this is going to play well with the audience, because what the audience is going to say is, oh, you've been doing some non-hip hop shit before. So we're going to be able to point it out here, right? You understand what I'm saying? If you remember this epic sort of thing, rant from Pusha T before, right? These are the things that people are going to reference, right? Lastly, I want to point out the document request number 78 and 79. The first part is connected to NFR. They want any document or relations, just an executive in the scope communicate with NFR. But the last one is all documents communication relating to the person using the handle Screwface Jin. Now I watched Screwface Jin's video on this, and again, when I talk about the ecosystem, I think a lot of people are really confused at the fact that creators can eat without getting paid by labels. The idea is that you put these videos out, the ecosystem is working, and you make the money, right? As long as things are happening, you make the money. But this might be Drake's team just doing their due diligence, wanting to make sure that there wasn't, any outsourced paying and things like that, other than a whitelisting we've talked about. But again, ask yourself, how is this supposed to land to the audience? I think I'm somebody that's been very fair to Drake, right? And just try to assess him from a musical aspect to this. But how do you want the audience to take